AdultTalk, a podcast by AdultWork.
Hello, everybody, and welcome one more time to our Adult Talk podcast, your go to podcast to talk about everything and anything. I'm here today with my co host, Juan Amaro. Hello, Juan.
Hello, everybody. So nice to be here one more time. One more podcast host. Fortunate. I'm sure if you, wherever you are in the world, if you were with having carnival, we also having carnival. So it was a great weekend. I hope you guys enjoy the carnival wherever you are. And so nice to be back and have a new podcast today with a very special guest, right?
Yes, that's absolutely right. So today we're featuring the amazing Serenity model. Hello, Serenity.
Hello.
So nice to have you. Welcome one more time. Let me just hear so everybody can hear very well. So nice to have you. Thanks so much to be here with us today.
No problem at all.
Did you have carnival where you are as well?
No, none of that here. No,
Oh, it was no carnival. Okay.
no.
Well, let's get just diving straight into it. First question I'd like to ask you for our audience would be: how long have you been in the adult industry?
Ooh. So I started off modeling. So I don't know whether kind of nude modeling and glamour modeling comes under the adult kind of industry as such. But I started
Okay.
that when I was 19 and then kind of started to do more of like the adult TV and the camming probably around like 23, 24, I think it was. So sort of several years later.
Okay. So, okay, take us so before that, before you start with the, let's say the coming streaming, the webcam streaming. So you start so you were doing modeling from
Yes.
19
Yeah.
for very little things. So you were modeling for magazines, photo shooting, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I've sort of started doing it freelance because I'm more of a petite model. I obviously wasn't like height requirement wise for a lot of agencies and things like that. So I just went out on my own and kind of started shooting, doing it alongside part-time retail work. And yeah, just sort of didn't go straight into kind of the more adult modeling, just obviously started off doing the usual kind of fashion portraits and things like that. And then sort of gradually got more into like the lingerie, swimwear and things like that. So yeah, basically a mix of
So,
everything.
so one thing was leading to the other, basically, until you get
Yes.
into the okay. And when did you realize that it clicked to you the adult industry? You said, okay, there's a different market here, a different niche that I can work with as well. Do you remember more or less your process?
I mean, I would say it was probably kind of when, because obviously whilst I was modeling, OnlyFans launched in like 2017. So this was when a lot of the glamour models were starting out, and then that kind of came in, and that sort of then opened up more of a window of kind of, I suppose, a bit more adult side of things. So I would say it was kind of like several years into doing the modeling. When I also noticed a couple of other freelance models sort of getting more into like the adult TV route. And that's kind of when I would say I sort of started noticing, oh yeah, there's kind of another industry to it where you can kind of work from home, you can do your own thing, and you could kind of market yourself and have like a fan base and things like that.
Okay. Do you remember how the first time that you registered a platform that you what was that process? Did you start with pictures? Because there's a lot of service within the platforms, right? So you can phone chat, you can SMS, you can um, do the webcam. So what did you start first? What was the first thing that attracted you to start work on it?
So I would say like the first thing was OnlyFans. That was obviously back when it was just uploading like pictures. I don't even, maybe videos was the thing then. So that was kind of before it became that you could do more on there. That was kind of the first step. And then, like I say,
Yeah.
I noticed a couple of the other girls getting into the adult TV route. So that was my first kind of step. And then that's when I was obviously introduced to like the phone chats and kind of getting used to that kind of, I suppose talking to people and interacting with them and finding out, you know, obviously all the different genres and fetishes and things like that. So yeah, that was sort of several years kind of after modeling. So sort of 23, 24, that was the first steps, was like the, well, I suppose it was camming as well, and like live TV.
Do you have now, after these years, do you have any niche, or when you started you already had a niche, or you never had any niche within the industry? And how was that for you?
I mean, obviously when I first started, I didn't really know my place at all. So I didn't have any kind of form of niche. But then the more I kind of obviously did the TV work and the camming and stuff, I think my kind of niche was sort of that more like prim and proper, kind of like a bit more of like a classy sort of vibe, maybe, you know, just kind of, I suppose people see me, they see maybe like sweet and innocent, and they don't kind of expect me to have like another naughtier side. So I think that that's kind of my niche, is more the sort of, like the kind of class and the sophistication and things like that.
Okay. Do you, on the years that you have been doing webcam, do you remember the first time that you did webcam streaming? Was that like the first ever time that you sit down in front of the computer and you live? Do you remember that first experience?
Do you mean like with an actual cam site, or do you mean, because obviously with the TV
with the cam
work,
site, with cam site.
So that must have been because I left the TV work, and then that's when a friend recommended me AdultTalk, and AdultTalk was the first webcam site I think I ever tried.
Okay.
I mean, I'd done kind of Skypes and things like that, but not an actual webcam site. So yeah, AdultTalk probably was several years ago now. So probably coming up to maybe like 4 years ago.
Do you remember the first day? Do you remember how it felt for you? Was it weird on the beginning? You didn't know did you had to do like role play? How was that? If you remember that, the first week of streaming, how was that for you?
Obviously it was difficult getting to grips with everything. I remember like finding it really difficult at the beginning, because there were so many different things to navigate. I didn't really know how to like price things. I didn't really know like what, you know, how the kind of system worked. So I was kind of thrown deep into it. But I remember like from my first day, I kind of like felt a buzz from it, because I just really enjoyed that I could just set my own time and set my own hours. And I liked that, you know, you just had to wait for that ring, and then you knew that you were in a call with somebody, and you weren't kind of having to necessarily sit around like on other streaming sites and kind of just sit there for free. So yeah, I remember kind of like at first a bit kind of confused with everything, but then once I learned everything, it was really fun and exciting, and I liked having a new venture.
Now, the reason why I ask, there's a lot of models starting today, let's say, or wanting to start today. They have and most of the time they are expecting to be something in a certain way, and then when they go to it, they start streaming, they start working, is a completely different vibe that they have. Most of the models that we were interviewing before, they said the same thing to us. They went, oh, I was expecting something completely different, and was completely different when I started streaming. So the experience was overwhelming. They wish they had started early doing stream webcam. So you were doing TV before as well, right? Model on TV before.
Yeah.
And then you went to the webcam. So on the webcam, the years that you've been within webcam, did you ever have any crazy requests from clients?
I mean, yeah, I get crazy requests all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard thing. Yeah, I mean, typically no, I would say yeah, it's quite a regular thing. I get requests all the time that are very out there.
But you get a request, but you are in a safe environment, right? So it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, that you can just click a button and ban whoever if it doesn't go through your boundaries. Do you have do you put boundaries? There's things that you accept, or things that you like, things you don't like. What do you like the most within the industry?
I don't necessarily like one particular thing. Obviously, I like to just kind of go with the flow and do a mix of things. Otherwise, I find if I'm doing the same thing and like picking one particular thing, it gets a bit kind of boring. And obviously everyone's different and everyone's got different kind of fetishes or likes and dislikes. But to be honest with you, I just like being me. I like sitting down and chatting with people. Some people just literally want to chat and want, you know, for me to get to know them to get to know me. And then I just like being a bit teasy, you know, and kind of showing off all of my lingerie sets that I've got and things like that, and just kind of going with whatever the client wants, really.
You have regulars coming back to you all the time as well? Like people who, do you still have clients who started with you, let's say, back on the days when you first started? Do you still have clients coming to you today as well?
Yes, yeah, that's the one thing actually that I would say I really liked the most about adult work, was the fact that like it was the one place I would feel I've really built up the most regulars from, and the people that, you know, come back to me time after time, and I know that I'm like guaranteed to hear from them, and they just keep coming back for more. So I definitely do have regular people.
You create the connection, right? When someone's coming back to you all the time, you create that sort of connection with the client. What about like if there is a lot of model watching us now wanting to start, maybe there is some things that might hold them back in start within the industry. One of the things like is support. How was that you like support from friends, family? When you start with the industry and when you actually decide to go into the adult industry, did you had support from family? Did you tell friends, family? How was that process for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky that I obviously was already kind of doing things that you might not necessarily have support from. So I'd already been kind of modeling, I'd already been doing OnlyFans and things like that. So my friends and family kind of already knew. So it was almost just an extra thing. It kind of wasn't really a surprise to anyone. So thankfully, you know, all of my close friends and family knew, were supportive. And like I said, I had friends that I had made from TV that were also on adult work and were able to give me advice and tips and kind of get me set up and started with it. So I was grateful to be in that position where it was all sort of pretty smooth, you know, on that aspect.
And you also in the industry as well, you sort of create a lot of friends within the time, right? Because you get to hang out with a lot of people that does the same work that you do. So you end up getting a lot of people that you can speak to, or not really. Oh yeah. What about? No, go on.
Oh no, sorry, no, you carry on.
What about socials? I see that you use your socials a lot. Do you think social is a very important part of the business that can drive a lot of traffic to your profiles and stuff like that? Do you use a lot of socials? And how do you do with your social media?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that social media is like the one massive thing. And that's, I think, the kind of misconception with this industry is that I think people coming into it kind of almost just think it is just a case of logging on and that's it. I'm just going to get instant money. I'm instantly going to have a fan base. And that kind of isn't the case. You know, you really need to have like a core kind of social media, like places that you post regularly, you're kind of interacting with people. And yeah, it is full on. It's definitely a lot of work. And I make sure I kind of use, you know, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit and things like that to constantly like promote. And like I just feel like with such a saturated market, you need to stay relevant, and posting on socials is the best place to do that. And then people can see you, and as soon as you say you're online somewhere, the people that watch and follow you will head straight there. So I think it's really important.
No, we believe that too. We agree. What about content creation? So do you create content as well, apart from do live streaming and stuff like that? Do you create content where you can have like passive income within the platforms? Do you create videos, image? Do you do professionally, or anyone with just a phone and a camera that is on the phone can create the content? And how do you do yours?
Yeah, I mean, definitely content creation again is a huge thing. Obviously, for other platforms and things like that, it's just extra revenue, and that's obviously, you know, what your fans want to see every day. So I've been making use of the feature on Adult Work as well, where you can upload movies to your gallery. So any kind of videos that I had recorded and set up and things like that, I thought, well, I may as well pop them on here as well. And then obviously you've got your gallery and things on there as well. So all of my pictures, I mean, my camera roll's full of stuff, but I mainly record it on my phone. There's maybe a few kind of videos that I've done teaming up with somebody else with like a video camera and stuff like that, but I really don't think it's necessary. Like, I think people worry that you've got to spend all this money and get all this high-tech things and things like that. But actually, you can literally just set up your phone, and the phone quality these days is incredible. So, a phone's definitely enough for that.
So if a model is watching us now live or watching this video later and they're interested to start, but they don't have all the fancy equipment, would you advise them, would you say they can start just with their phone?
In terms of what, content creation or camming, or what do you mean exactly?
Everything. Like
Everything.
can they sign up for a platform, use their phone to sign up, to start streaming, to create content, to share, to edit? They can use their phone for everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, like in this day and age, there isn't really like a necessity to have kind of anything extra. So if you want to just do those first steps, then you can easily do that with a phone. And then I just obviously invested in, when I knew I was going to be camming and taking it seriously and, using that as a regular form of income, I invested in a laptop. It doesn't even need to be expensive. You can get a secondhand one. I would just say that if you're camming, a good webcam is the, the one thing I would say to invest in above anything. But just getting started on anything, it's just, a phone's fine, absolutely fine.
See, well, you guys got a pro tip over here. If you listen to the podcast and it's your first time, remember, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, become part of the family. And remember, on the description of the video, you will find Serenity socials there as well. So you'll be able to follow her. Remember, you can leave comments, interact in the post. The more you interact, the more we create. So if there is one thing you could choose to say, I absolutely love this, and something that you absolutely don't like, what would that be within the adult industry?
I would say the one thing that I absolutely love is the fact that, like, I can just be myself. I can express myself. I can, feel sexual. I can feel sensual, and it's kind of like all on my own terms. I'm kind of able to just express myself basically and be me, and obviously have, people that appreciate that and are there and kind of make me feel good because they're people that I can make happy too. And I just feel like I get a sense of just being happy from knowing that I'm also like helping other people and I make their day as well. And then I would say the negative, probably the stigma, and the fact that there is such like a negative, unfortunately, view of adult work. And I feel like it's getting better, but sex work is still kind of, for some reason, not seen as a legitimate job. You're not taken seriously. People think that it's easy, and people think that you don't have respect for yourself, when actually it's I would say the complete opposite. And a lot of people I know in the industry are very switched on. They're business women. They know what they're doing. They set their own terms. They don't do anything that they wouldn't not want to do. So I would say that that's probably the one thing that I don't like the most about the industry.
It's the taboos, isn't it? A society has.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear any comments from people in your circle like this? I mean, the negative comments regarding the taboos that you just mentioned, and how did you react on this? How did you handle them?
I would say that, like, not in my not in my direct circle, no, because everyone now that I choose to associate with knows what I do are the types of people that, like, they wouldn't be judgmental and they wouldn't pass negative comments because they're just, accepting people. But I definitely have had issues in the past with, people that I've maybe started to become friends with that have said things behind my back and have kind of, labeled me as certain things. And I would say when I first started out in general, even the modeling and things, there were obviously a lot of, small town comments and things like that would be, I suppose, again, along the lines of, no respect and, all this kind of thing. But yeah, I choose to now focus on the good people. I think once you own it and once you kind of, I suppose, are comfortable with what you do. And now I've been doing it so many years, I think that there's not really any comments that people could make, because it doesn't affect my situation at all, and I'll do it regardless. So I think that they know that they don't really have any power with those comments now.
It's all about how you handle it, because you will always find people make these comments to you. But at the end of the day, it's your life, your choices. So you gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly.
Do you have? I believe that the business give you freedom, right, within the work. So you work at any time you want, however you want. If you wanna just wake up and say, I'm gonna work in the morning, in the afternoon, whatever. Despite that, do you have a schedule? How's your schedule? Do you just I'm working 3 times a week, or I stream 3 times a week and that kind of thing, or you take day by day?
Yeah, I'm definitely like, I wish I was one of these people that were like really scheduled and like, oh, I do this day and that day and that day. But no, I'm definitely like, I think that's why this job suits me, is because I am just kind of more of a go with the flow type person. And I don't know how I'm going to feel day to day. So if there's a day where maybe, I don't know, I've got a bit more energy, or I feel like doing something in particular, I'll go and do it. And then maybe other days I might feel like, actually, I don't really feel like putting on a performance today. So I choose not to kind of have too much of a like regimented schedule, but I try to kind of, I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I try and do as much as possible, kind of making sure I'm doing something every day, but kind of switch up what that is, you know, by judging by how I feel on that day.
All right. Well, if there is a model one now listen to this and are planning to start, what would you advise them? What should they do first?
I mean, first and foremost, I would just say, like, be sure that you're happy with what you're doing, you're comfortable with what you're doing, and know that obviously it's the internet and things last forever on the internet. You can't, like, even if you think you can get stuff removed, it's kind of always going to be there. I think that a lot of people come into the industry and they maybe don't think ahead, and they don't kind of think, oh, you know, how might I feel about this further down the line? But if you're comfortable and you're sure, and you know that this is definitely like something that you're going to be okay with, then I would honestly just say, like, start with the socials, set up a profile, get a few pictures, find out kind of like what your strengths are and like what people like most about you, and kind of go with that. And I would also say check out other content creators as well. I think that with any business, look to the people that are doing well in that industry, and, you know, see what they're doing and kind of replicate that, but do it in your own style. I think it's important to kind of, again, take your strengths and kind of try and find something that is maybe a bit of a niche, because then you kind of have a unique fan base. But yeah, I would honestly just say, get yourself out there, try a few different things and see what you like from those things.
When you first started, did you reach out to other members in the industry, other creators, to gather, I don't know, any feedback, any tips, or you did your own research from the media and then you started?
I think it was probably a mix of both, really. Like I say, especially with the camming and adult work, I obviously had a friend of mine who was already camming on there. So I kind of took a bit of advice from her. And I guess same with OnlyFans, you know, I knew a few like content creators, and we have a group chat. So I'd often just put in there, oh, you know, if I had any questions or anything, or any, you know, wanted any guidance or advice or tips or anything like that, that's where I would head. So I definitely had like other people in the industry. I think with anything, modeling, camming, content creating, there was always somebody that I kind of went to say, oh, how did you do this, or how did you find this, and kind of then, you know, kind of took on that approach and went off and did my own thing with it.
Yeah, that's actually amazing to see what the others they are doing, because it gives you more motivation. It makes you comfortable enough, because at the beginning you're like, am I joining? Am I not joining this industry? What are the consequences going to be?
Yep.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the show, we always get some very interesting questions that I would like to ask you. I have 5 questions, warm-up questions, adult questions, and then Aurora have some more questions too. So first question would be, blow job or hand job?
Blow job or hand job, did you say?
Blow job or hand job?
I would say blow job.
Second question would be dog style, 69 or missionary?
Doggy.
Group sex, like orgy, or one-to-one?
1-to-1.
Masturbation, solo or together?
Ooh,
Somewhere.
that's a difficult one. Ooh, I'll say together, but solo's just as good.
All right. And sex, morning or night?
Night.
And now we're going to the part 2 of the ping pong questions. And the first one will be, can you describe yourself in just one word?
Unique.
Second one, what's your ultimate turn on?
Ambition.
Third one, kissing or cuddling?
Cuddling.
What's your secret weapon to seduce someone?
That's a good question. Oh God. Sexy outfits.
We'll take it. What's one thing on your bucket list?
Ooh, I think just travel as much as possible.
And what now that you said travel, what's your favorite holiday destination?
Ooh, I would say the Maldives.
Nice, exotic.
Yes. Hello.
If you could meet and create content with a celebrity, who would that be?
Oh my God. Ooh, I really don't know. That's a good question. Because do I pick a woman and just create really good content that everyone would love? Probably, even though I'd prefer to do it with a guy. I don't know. That's difficult.
Maybe the person you're gonna mention is watching us.
I
Is
doubt
listening to
it.
this
I really
podcast.
doubt it.
Or is listening to this podcast after?
I don't know what the guy's name is, but the actor that was in 365 Days, that would be a good duo. I would say that.
Mysterious, yeah, I get
Or
it.
maybe like a Christian Grey. I could do a 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, we'll go with that as well.
Why not?
And next one is, what's the last thing you Googled?
Oh my God, I wouldn't even know. I think it's probably just like looking up a makeup website, to be honest with you. I couldn't remember, but probably that.
What's your ultimate fantasy?
Ooh. I have never done it with more than one guy. So I think my ultimate fantasy is, more than one male.
And next one is, what's the weirdest place or even situation you've ever had sex?
The what, sorry?
The weirdest place or even situation.
I've had sex on a tractor in the middle of a field once. That was pretty weird.
Adventurous. And the last one will be, if you win 1 million today, what's the very first thing you will buy?
I think I would have to buy a holiday to go and like decide what I'm going to do with the rest of the money and invest it, and probably property and stuff like that. But the first thing would be a holiday, I think.
So it would be a holiday ticket to go and find out what you're going to do with the 1 million.
Should go to the Maldives.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Maldives for a month. I think that would put.
Oh, bliss.
Exactly. When we get towards the end, we started this from last live, right? We're asking the guest to leave a question to the next guest without knowing who they are. So the previous guest left a message to you, but they didn't know that was going to be you. So you can either, if you have the question, you can let us know now, and I'll ask them after, or you can send me on our Twitter, or you can send to us after, and we're gonna ask them the question that you mentioned. So think of a question, and you can send to us after if you like. The question that's the previous models left to you, the previous model was
Which was the Foxy
the
couple.
Foxy couple,
So a
exactly.
huge shout out to the Foxy couple.
Yeah, thank you guys for the question. The question was, what is the most you have ever earned in a camp session in one time, and how long did it take? Like, how much did you earn in one time you went to do a camp session, like 1 hour, 2 hours, 10 minutes, whatever?
Well, I could swear that it like cuts out or times out at a certain point. I swear it's like an hour or something. Whenever I've done like calls previously, it's like cut off and then I've had to start it again. So it's difficult to say. So I don't actually know. Like this is a bit of a disappointing answer, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, I really don't know.
All right. There we go. She doesn't know.
Rubbish answer.
You got your answer.
That's fine. So you sent to us for the next guest. You can send. You can leave a message to the next guest, or you can send to us on the socials as well. We can talk. Not before you leave, if you can very nicely leave a message to our audience, for people who are watching this later, or for models maybe that would like to start. So what would be your message to anybody to listen to us now? And then also tell us where they can find you.
Okay. Well, I guess it depends if obviously a model or a potential client's watching this. If a potential client, if you like what you see and you like my personality, then of course you can find me on AdultWork, Serenity_model. Am I allowed to like leave other socials and names of other socials as well, or is
of course?
Yeah. And then I'm Serenity Model on OnlyFans. You can find me there. Serenity66 Model on Twitter. And I think serenity.model1 on Instagram, because I've had a million of those deleted, so it's difficult remembering. And if you're a model watching this, feel free to also reach out to me on socials if you want any tips or advice. If you're looking at starting, then I would honestly say go for it. If you're sure that this is what you want to do, then it can be really like freeing and lucrative. And yeah, just enjoy yourself, have fun, and contact me if you need any help.
Amazing. Well, for everybody who's watching, thank you so much. It was brilliant. Serenity, it was beautiful. Very nice to have you with us. Hopefully we can arrange in the future to have another a live where you can tell us more stories. So thank you so much once again. Aurora?
Yeah, thank you guys. It was an amazing show. Thank you, Serenity, for joining us today. If you guys made it to the end of this live, show some love, like, subscribe, and yeah.
We catch you on the next one.